Hey everybody, welcome to the May-June update for Southern Alberta Rail. We're going to call this one dishwasher versus layout. Had an inlet valve go on the dishwasher, so it kept filling up even though we weren't using the thing. Water got out onto the floor, permeated the floor, down through the floorboards, and ended up down on part of the layout here. So after fixing the dishwasher, that turned into a minor remodel on the kitchen, which led to a relocation of a hallway closet, which in turn required some rewiring. You know, one project always leads to another, and in all fairness, I needed the distraction because I wasn't ready to deal with the damage done to the layout. The water came down onto the layout right at the rock cut at milepost 46.15. If you look quickly, it doesn't look like there's much damage. However, a closer inspection will reveal that the silicate is starting to lift off the scenery base, off the rock face itself here. Now the reason for this is that as everything dries, the different scenery elements are going to contract at a different rate. Therefore, it's curling things up. While not super noticeable here, there's a much more prevalent example on the west side of the cut. You can see here, this is where the brunt of the water came down. It came dripping down here, right onto the layout, ran down through this rock cut. You can see it was dripping onto the rock itself and eroded the plaster and the paint out of the plaster. So that all has to change as well. So we're going to be tearing off this rock cut for the most part. And one other minor little thing, if we look closely here, is that the rock is now discolored. Now I don't care about that because that's actually kind of cool. It's kind of a natural looking thing. However, this rock is likely all going to have to come out and this whole lump is going to be redone. So scenery work, of course, is pretty straightforward. The track structure did get damaged as well. The water kind of pooled up in here, came down, pooled in here, got sucked up into the ballast, softened the ballast, softened the latex contact that I use under the ballast to hold the track in place. The track crept in about maybe a 1/16 of an inch at the worst spot right here. Now that's changed the clearance through our rock cut and it introduced a bit of a kink through here. So that's all going to have to come out. I'm going to probably cut it about here, take out, you know, maybe 24 inches, 30 inches of track that's affected, and relay some new rail. So if we look here at the lighting valance, you can see the water pooled up on the support for the lights and it ran down here before dripping down the front of the layout. Now, it's sealed quite well on the front edge of the fascia here, so it didn't really take a hit here. However, on the back side of the valance, because the water was sitting up here, it kind of soaked into the hardboard I'm using for the valance fascia. However, because the outside is painted that dark gray, almost black color, you can't really tell. So I got lucky with that. I'll just go in and I'll repaint this so you can't see this and get that white in there so you got that reflection of the light back onto the layout. And that's a pretty straightforward fix as well. Now those of you with sharp eyes might have noticed that the whole layout's supported on shelving units that are built out of 3/4 inch plywood with MDF shelves. The contents of this shelving unit where the water came down just happened to be all my Cato passenger sets. We all know about the compatibility of cardboard and water, so all the boxes are pretty much wrecked. However, the contents seem to be fine, so I can live with that. Boxes aren't that big a deal to me, it's the stuff inside that counts. I'm a big believer in turning bad news into an opportunity. The area from the water damage down to Tunnel 5 was done during COVID, and it was the first time I touched the layout in over 6 years. It is also before I started making piles of birch trees, and it lacks color. So this is going to give me the opportunity to not just fix the damage and make things a little bit better, but to add a splash of color and change the way the scene looks overall. Now it's summer up here in Alberta, and that means you have to make the most of being outside getting stuff done. So getting to this is going to be dependent on rainy days. Hopefully over the next few months I'll be able to balance my outside work along with some work on the layout and get this project taken care of. Unfortunately, that's all I've got to report for this update. If you want to see where things are going in the next few months, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to follow along with detailed restoration work, consider becoming a channel member. I'm going to do a complete series on the restoration work here for my members. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.